All right, welcome everyone. Eugene Hughes Metal Fabrication. Check this out here. This here is a 1/4-inch chunk of steel. I've used a annular cutter on a magnetic drill to make these holes here. Let me show you a cool drill. Now this video here is sponsored by Vevor. They asked me to review their 1300 watt mag drill, and used it to cut these holes here in this 1/4-inch plate of steel. And the cool thing about an annular cutter, which is the specialty of the mag drills here, is you get a very precise, clean hole that, I mean, a shaft or a bearing can fit in just perfect. Come on in, check it out here. But hey, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I give it 2 thumbs up. This is a great little drill. There's a discount code on the bottom where you can get 5% off, and as well a link to the drill if you're interested. But come on in, let me show you some cool stuff about a neat little mag drill. This is great for a home shop. I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up right off the bat. That's my review. It's a great little drill. It's very versatile. Let me show you why I give it that way. I only found one little thing to give it a pick about that I might would like to see them change in future ones here. And good, safe shop practices will get around that. So it's a little bit of a safety issue, but as well it's a common sense issue that one can easily work around with here. And the pick is, okay, I'll get right to the point here. It's a mag drill. We've got a heavy duty magnet here on the bottom. I've got this plugged in, and how this thing works, it's a very powerful motor, and it needs the magnet, and it utilizes the magnet to lock this in place. That way the power of the drill isn't going to make this move, and you don't have to sit there and hold the thing. And as well, it can be utilized in drilling in a horizontal position upright on like a steel column, even drill overhead and drill straight up. So it uses the magnet to clamp, so to speak, to hold the base of the drill perfectly still. So I'm going to energize the magnet with this button here, and you can hear, I don't know if you can hear the faint hum. It's raining outside, so you might not be able to hear the magnet there, but it's got a monster grip on this chunk of steel here. And you then, to start the motor, I'm going to turn this all the way down. Now, for the sake of safety, something obviously that they did well on this here is when you turn the magnet off, it stops the drill. But here's possibly a little bit of a safety concern of mine. If you energize the magnet again, the drill motor starts. I would love to see it to where once the magnet is turned off, of course we stop the drill motor, but it also would reset it to where when you turn the magnet back on, the drill wouldn't start again. Because an accidental start with something this powerful could cause some problems here. So the way around it, obviously, is hit the red button here. It is now turned off. So you start a job, drilling a hole, you turn the magnet on, you then start the drill motor. And when you are done, you hit the red button, turning off the motor. Then you turn off the magnet. That is the safe way to operate this here. But let's go over what we've got here on this this drill here. You've got the 1300 watt drill here, and I'm a fan of the Vevor mag drills. I've utilized one on my drill press. I removed the magnet and I bolted it directly to my column, and I welded up I cut a chunk of steel and I bolted it onto my drill press there, and I utilize it there because I do annular cutting, and as well I figured, hey, I've got this powerful monster here, I might as well take advantage of it and have me a super powerful drill press as well. It does come with a Jacob's chuck, which mounts right into the weld-on adapter. It has a 3/4 inch weld-on shank on it, And for those of you who are not familiar with it, this here is the weld-on shank or shaft as it's called. And it's a tight, snug fit into the holder here. And you've got 2 set screws, which then lock this thing into place. Some people have complained about some of the bits being out of round and getting some wobble in it. And I'm willing to bet it's because they did not firmly push the weld-on shank in to the holder here, and maybe just, I mean, the slightest little piece of dirt in there can get this thing here off kilter here. So if you've got it a thousandth or so here, and then the further you go down, the more it's going to be out of off center here. So you want to be careful there. And the beautiful thing about your mag drills is they power these guys here. This is an annular cutter. This here is made for making some serious holes in steel. This is a 40 millimeter bit that comes with it. You actually get 2 of the 40 millimeter by 30 millimeter depth bits here. And you get the ejector pin. And the ejector pin is used for, once you drill, you're left with this plug here. So this is what we removed to make this hole here, and it basically cuts around it. And the ejector pin, it's spring loaded, and oftentimes when you drill through the ejector pin, the force of it will simply just pop the slug, as I call it, out. And if it doesn't, no big deal. You can then remove, you can either take a screwdriver and wedge under the bit here and pull the piece out. If not, remove the annular cutter, take a hammer and give it a light tap or two, and the slug will fall out. The annular cutters are limited as to how deep a piece of steel you can drill a hole into by how deep this part here is. So the slug has to fit into it. So once the bit goes fully through, whatever the thickness is of the metal is in here. So they've got some cutters that go up to 2 inches deep. So, and this here 40 millimeter, this drill here will make quick work of it. In about 30 seconds, you can go ahead and drill through it. Now, as well, since you're basically cutting a lot of metal here, you're going to utilize cutting fluid, and this drill here comes with a coolant lubricant reservoir on it and a feed tube that goes into the center of this here. And when the ejector pin is pushed down on the material you are drilling, this lifts up. You have a flat area here that when this here is lifted up, the cutting fluid will then flood the piece to be cut and help lubricate and cool the carbide cutting area on the annular cutter. As well, when it cuts here, the flutes here do some cutting as well and help shape the hole. When I first started fabricating things out of steel, I used these hole saws here in order to cut. And as well, these here took a good while, and I found that they would get a little bit out of round here, and I wouldn't get a perfectly clean hole. So I started doing some research online, and I came up with how annular cutters foot the bill. Let's zoom in here. Okay, so this hole here was made using this bit here. Let me get the pin out. And this here is a very snug fit. And if you're cutting a hole in steel for something like, let's say, a bearing or something is going to press into, if you've utilized a hole saw and it gets a little out of round, you're not going to get a good snug fit. on it. So that's the beauty of these annular cutters. So let's go ahead and drill some holes with this here, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so let's take a look at the controls here and the features of this annular cutter. So we've got the magnet switch here, which must be turned on for the drill to operate. Here is your on-off switch for the drill motor. The drill has a speed adjustment. That way you're just not locked into one speed, and you can find the speed that works best for whatever size hole or material you're drilling into. So let's turn it on. And I think the maximum RPM on this here is like 700 RPM. I'll put the specifics down below there. As well, you have a forward and a reverse setting on this here. Now this drill here, this means that you can tap with this here. Using the Jacob's chuck, you can put a tap on it, and a hole that you've drilled, you can run a tap into it. The L setting here is to where it would be clockwise, where your tap would run in, and then the R would reverse and would back the tap out. Whenever you do tap, you want to use a lot of lubrication and make sure you're drilling the correct size hole for whatever tap you're going to use, and run it at a very low speed. So let's take a look at the other side here. So you've got the coolant reservoir here, and you've got the feed tube here that goes into the bit holder here. And this is what will flood the cutting area, the area to be drilled with the cutting fluid. Obviously it doesn't go on a standard drill bit because there's no hole in it, but with your annular cutters it will do that. And what I will do is buy the cutting fluid, and it comes in a gallon container for me, and I mix it 20% cutting fluid, and then the rest water. Works plenty good for me here. And it has a petcock here, and you just open it up and you get the flow however you want it for the size hole that you're cutting. So let's go ahead. And the cool thing about this here with these annular cutters is you don't need to drill a pilot hole. You can certainly take a punch and mark you a little dimple in your surface to be drilled for your locator pin for the ejector pin, or you can utilize it as a locator pin to get it centered where you want it. That way you're putting the hole precisely where you need it. So what I'm going to do So let's go ahead right now, since I've got the Jacob's chuck in there, I'm going to go ahead and drill a pilot hole, and we're going to run this 1/2-inch bit through this 1/4-inch plate steel here. I've got a 1/8-inch bit. All right, and let's check it and make sure that it's centered and all that good stuff. Very minimal run out. We're doing fine there. I'm going to use the squirt bottle here and put a little cutting fluid on it as we go. And that made pretty quick work of it. Another adjustment that you've got on this drill here, see right now the annular cutter is all the way down and it's not even touching the base of the steel that steel that we're resting the drill on. So let's go ahead and loosen this here. Going to go ahead and let this drop below. Tighten up the Allen screw here. Now I just tested it to make sure there's no wobble. The annular cutter is in there fully seated. It's in good shape there. I'm going to open the petcock of the coolant reservoir, and it's flooding the workpiece here with the fluid. So we're good there. Let's go ahead and turn this on. And you can see the hole cut by the annular cut is a very snug fit with the cutter reinserted into it. It is a very clean hole. Okay, so that wraps up my review. Yes, I give it 2 thumbs up. The Vevor 1300 watt mag drill. If you're interested, check the link down below. You'll find a discount code for 5% off. These things are priced very well. I'm a fan of it. Like I said, I've got a Vevor mag drill that I use on my drill press that I've adapted to 100% drill press duty, and I'm a big fan of it, and I love the annular cutters. You get a great clean hole. The cool thing about this particular drill is you can tap too. You've got the reverse function, lots of lube. You can tap a hole in pretty quick. Takes about 30 seconds for that 40mm bit to run a 40mm diameter hole. As well, they've got annular cutters, all sorts of devices. Stay tuned, Hughes Metal Fabrication. Click the subscribe button if you like what I'm doing, you think I'm helping anybody out. There's notifications if you want. I want to thank you for watching. Take care.